Get ready, because in this special video, we're going to look at 12 obvious signs that someone around you is a bad person. Have you ever had that feeling that someone close to you is not who they seem to be? As the philosopher Seneca said, evil often hides under the appearance of good. But don't worry, in this video, you'll not only learn how to recognize such people, but you'll also understand how to deal with each personality type. At the end, I'll reveal the most surprising and common trait we all ignore, and explain how to use it to your advantage. Before we get started, if you find value in these videos, subscribe and hit the bell to stay in the loop. Let's get started. Sign 1. Taking pleasure in other people's pain. ***. The first sign is taking pleasure in other people's pain. Have you ever wondered if you are surrounded by people with dark intentions? Imagine this. You're in your office. You stumble and spill your coffee. While you're trying to clean up the mess, you notice your coworker smiling slyly. Sound familiar? Well, you've just witnessed a classic example of what psychologists call schadenfreude, a term that literally means taking joy in harming others. It's more common than you might think. According to research, people who experience schadenfreude don't just enjoy it from time to time. They actively seek it out. They seem to have a kind of radar for detecting other people's misfortunes, and they feed off of it. However, we're not suggesting you become paranoid. Just be alert and pay attention to how people around you react. When someone is going through a difficult time, do they offer help or do they turn away? The philosopher Ovid once said that it is human to be jealous and diabolical to take pleasure in the misfortune of others. A person who constantly finds pleasure in other people's pain is like an emotional vampire, sucking out energy. But not all is lost. Even the life of such a person doesn't mean you should cut ties immediately. Sometimes a little compassion and honest dialogue can work wonders. After all, even Darth Vader had a moment of redemption. Next time you see someone smiling when you stumble, remember, awareness is your weapon and knowledge is the foundation. ***. Sign 2. The need to control someone else's life. ***. Do you ever feel like someone is trying to control every aspect of your life? Like an invisible puppeteer pulling your strings? Well, friends, welcome to the world of obsessive control. Imagine you're a little mouse trapped in a maze, and someone is moving the walls at will. Disappointing, isn't it? People who need constant control want to become the directors of your life script, according to expert Dr. George Simon. This is due to a deep insecurity and fear of chaos. They are convinced, if you don't control everything, everything will fall apart. Let's not confuse these people with your caring grandmother, who just wants you to put your coat on. We're talking about a level of control that even a dictator would say, "Hey, relax a little." These control-hungry people are like emotional vacuum cleaners, sucking out all your energy and freedom, leaving you devastated. If this sounds familiar to you, know this: you are not alone. Many people are trapped in this toxic dynamic without even realizing it. But as the philosopher Epictetus said, we cannot choose external circumstances, but we can always choose how to respond to them. The key is to recognize the signs. Your boss obsessively checks every comma in your reports. Your partner demands to know where you are 24 hours a day. And your friend gets angry if you don't take his advice. But you don't have to escape to a cave in the Himalayas to cope. Set clear boundaries, like a no trespassing sign. And if that doesn't work, you can always pretend your phone has lost signal. Remember, my friend, your life belongs to you, and only you. Don't let anyone turn you into their personal puppet. Direct your own script. Become the director of your own movie, and make it one award-winning movie, not a low-budget drama. Sign 3. A strange feeling in their presence. ***. Have you ever had a strange feeling that something doesn't quite fit when you are in the presence of certain people? Imagine you're at a party. Music is playing, people are laughing, but suddenly someone walks in and the atmosphere changes. You don't know why, but you feel uncomfortable, as if your internal radar has sounded an alarm, pointing out the toxic person. But what's really going on? It turns out our bodies are smarter than we think. According to Dr. Antonio Damasio, a scientist at the University of Southern California, our brains are constantly processing information we don't even realize we have. It's like a lie detector, only much cooler. And it's not just a phenomenon of modern science. Our ancestors sense danger. Perhaps your instinct tells you that you are facing an emotional vampire who wants to steal all your positive energy. Don't be afraid. We are not encouraging you to become a hermit and stop trusting everyone. Rather, we advise you to pay attention to your feelings. Do you notice that your mood changes when a certain person is around? It could be your sixth sense working overtime. But how do you tell the difference between a temporary bad mood and a truly toxic person? There's a trick: consistency. If you get a weird feeling every time you see one, he might not be the best company for you. We're not saying that one is a villain. Sometimes the people who make us feel bad don't have bad intentions, but that doesn't mean we should ignore our feelings. As one psychologist said, when someone shows you who they really are, believe it the first time. So the next time you feel a tingling in your stomach or tension in your shoulders, don't ignore it. Your body may be trying to tell you something important. It's like having superpowers. You may not be able to fly or read minds, but being able to recognize toxic people is a very useful skill these days. Sign 4. Lack of responsibility. Have you ever met someone who seems to have an excuse for everything? Imagine this. You're in a work meeting and your coworker is late again. Traffic was terrible, he exclaims. But strangely enough, for some reason the traffic is only getting in his way. This avoidance of responsibility is like an Olympic event for some people's sport. They are the true champions of responsibility avoidance. And if this were the Olympics, they would probably take the gold. Disclaimers of responsibility are a clear sign that you are dealing with a problem person. These people have doctorates in blaming others and master's degrees in playing the victim. They are like magicians, but instead of rabbits, they pull excuses out of a hat. Psychologists say this behavior may be based on a deep fear of failure or criticism. It's as if they have an invisible shield protecting them from any responsibility. How to deal with such evasion champions? First, stay calm. Their lack of responsibility says more about them than it does about you. Second, be firm and set clear boundaries. Imagine you're on stage and your performance partner has forgotten his lines and accuses you of it. In front of the audience, don't play along. Keep your composure and get on with your work. Remember that you can't change these people, but you can change your reaction to them. As the philosopher Epictetus said, it is not things that bother us, but our judgments about them. So the next time you meet someone who avoids responsibility, like it's an extreme sport, take a deep breath and remember, their lack of responsibility is not your responsibility. Before we move on to the next feature, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate your bell so you don't miss future videos. If you enjoy this type of content as much as I do, let's continue to learn together and improve our lives. Figure 5. The habit of lying. Imagine you're at a get-together with friends, and someone tells a story that sounds so incredible that it's rare even in the movies. Everyone listens with their mouths open, but somewhere in the back of your mind you sense that something doesn't add up. Sound familiar? You may have encountered a compulsive liar. Psychologist Robert Feldman of the University of Massachusetts found that people lie even during a 10-minute conversation. Compulsive liars turn lying into an art form, using words to create alternate realities. As my grandmother used to say, they lie more than they talk. But why do they do it? It's not because they have a long nose like Pinocchio, although they do have something in common with him. They lie for their own gain. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that all lies are the same. It's one thing to tell your partner you like their new haircut even if it's not the best. It's quite another to make up stories to manipulate people. Philosopher Immanuel Kant said that lying is morally wrong, but let's not kid ourselves. We all tell white lies sometimes. The difference lies in the intent. People with evil tendencies lie as naturally as they breathe, often exaggerating their accomplishments or creating drama. The danger of lying is that it not only distorts the truth, but it can have real consequences. Imagine trusting someone who constantly lies about their financial situation or, worse, their feelings. But not all is lost. There are ways to recognize these masters of lying. Pay attention to inconsistencies in their stories, watch their body language, and trust your intuition. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. According to research from the University of Massachusetts, people unconsciously touch their nose when they lie like Pinocchio. The next time someone tells an unbelievable story, pay attention to the details. If the person avoids eye contact or, conversely, stares intently without blinking, it could be a sign of lying. As Mark Twain said, if you're telling the truth, you don't need to memorize anything. The next time you meet someone living in their alternate reality, put on your truth glasses and look beyond the pretty words. Your peace of mind will thank you. Sign 6. Resistance to change. Have you ever met someone who seems stuck in the past, as if time has stopped for them? Imagine a rock in the middle of a river. The water flows around it, adapting and evolving, while the rock remains still. Such are those people who cling to their old customs and beliefs as a lifeline in the middle of an ocean of change. This is who I am, or leave, they will tell you proudly. But is it something to be proud of? The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said over 500 years ago, the only constant is change. And he was right. These people are like a broken record, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. If you point out problematic behavior to them, they'll defend themselves with phrases like "I've always been this way," as if that's an excuse not to improve. But be careful not to fall into the judgment trap. Often resistance to change is born out of fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of discovering that maybe they aren't as amazing as they thought they were. It's like living in a comfortable but suffocating bubble. The danger is that by surrounding ourselves with such people, we risk likening ourselves to them. There is an old saying, tell me who you socialize with and I'll tell you who you are. Before you know it, you may start repeating the same excuses. That's why it's important to surround ourselves with people who inspire us to become better people. Look for those who challenge you and take you out of your comfort zone. The average of the people you spend the most time with becomes your own standard. Trait 7. Past goodness. Imagine that your friend Sophia is always willing to help, lend money or listen to other people's problems, a true angel. But what happens when someone decides to take advantage of this kindness? There are manipulators who see kindness as a weakness that can be taken advantage of. Psychologist Dr. Albert Bernstein explains it brilliantly. Toxic people are like emotional vacuum cleaners, who leave you devastated, and he's right. These people have an instinct for detecting good souls in order to take advantage of them. They resort to tactics like emotional blackmail, empty promises, and guilt trips. Do phrases like "if you were really my friend, you'd lend me money," or "I swear this is the last time I'll ever ask you for a favor" sound familiar? If so, beware. You may have encountered a skillful manipulator. But all is not lost. Philosopher Immanuel Kant said, kindness is the only investment that never goes bankrupt. And it's true. However, that doesn't mean we should allow others to abuse our generosity. The key to balance is to set clear boundaries and learn to say no without guilt. We do this. First, realize your value. Your time, energy, and resources are invaluable, and you don't need to apologize for taking care of yourself. By putting your needs first, you create a harmonious space where your inner balance becomes the foundation for productive interactions with others. Second, learn to recognize the warning signs. If someone only reaches out to you when they need something, doesn't reciprocate, or makes you feel guilty for not living up to their expectations, set off an internal alarm. Someone who only seeks benefits in you can drain your emotional and mental health. Being sensitive to such signals is not a sign of suspicion or coldness. but a natural defense against burnout. Helping others is a sign of wisdom and kindness. As the writer Ayn Rand once said, "Don't say you have an obligation to help someone if you do. It's only because you want to." This thought reminds us that true kindness comes from our sincere desire, not from imposed obligations. Dear friends, always remember, kindness is a gift, not a right. You can be kind, but you cannot allow yourself to be used. You are able to help others without exhausting your own strength. You can take care of yourself and still be sensitive and friendly to others. This is true wisdom. Loving yourself as you love others, respecting your own boundaries and worth. **** Sign 8. An uncomfortable feeling that something is wrong. ***. Have you ever had that feeling that something is wrong with someone close to you, but you can't pinpoint it? Well, get ready, because today we're going to break down an important sign that could be right in front of our noses. Warnings from our loved ones. Imagine this. Your relationship seems perfect, but your friends and family can't stop frowning every time you mention this person. Sound familiar? It turns out that our immediate environment is often able to spot warning signs that we ourselves have a hard time recognizing. We may be blinded by our feelings, attachment, or fear of losing a relationship, while our loved ones see the situation from the outside. Sometimes we stubbornly ignore their doubts and continue to go against our own inner sense of discomfort. However, it is worth paying attention to the clues given to us by those who genuinely care about us. Friends and family can spot things that are hidden from our view. Devaluation, manipulation, or signs of dishonesty. Listen to them not as criticism but as a warning, for their words may prove to be important signals on the path to true well-being. ***. Sometimes we ignore the warnings of those around us. ***. Psychologist Dr. John Gottman, widely known as the relationship guru, reminds us that sometimes we are so blinded by love, or what we mistake for love, that we overlook the most obvious warning signs. But why is it important to listen to the opinions of those around us? Imagine yourself as the detective in your life and your friends and family as partners in the investigation, offering valuable clues. They can help uncover whether you're dealing with someone truly toxic. We're not encouraging you to run in a panic every time your Aunt Paquita wrinkles her nose at the sight of your new boyfriend. But if this opinion is repeated and heard from multiple people, it may be time to take off the rose-colored glasses and look at the situation objectively. ***. An example that many people are familiar with. The story of Maria and Carlos. Maria was madly in love with Carlos, but her friends repeatedly warned her about his overbearing behavior. She replied, "He only cares about me." However, when Carlos began isolating her from her friends and criticizing her every decision, Maria realized that her friends were right all along. Aristotle once said that a friend is a soul living into bodies, and, in fact, he was right. Our true friends can see things we are missing simply because they have a different perspective. ***. Balance between trusting yourself and taking advice. ***. It's important to remember here. It's not about becoming paranoid. It's about a balance between trusting our instincts and judiciously valuing the opinions of those who love us. At the end of the day, it's friends and family who will be the ones to support us and help us pick up the pieces if things go wrong. So the next time your best friend says, "Hey, don't you think something's wrong?" don't rush to defend yourself. Instead, think about it. He or she may be doing you a big favor, even if you don't see it right away. Sign 9. Contempt. Imagine the situation. You share your dreams, full of enthusiasm, but instead of support, you see a cold stare and hear a dismissive comment along the lines of, "You seriously think you can do that?" Don't be naive. Friends, that's what contempt is. This hidden poison creeps into your thoughts and undermines your confidence, especially if it is shown by someone in your inner circle. Contempt is a manipulative tool that can make you doubt your abilities, your dreams, and even your own worth as a person. But why would anyone do such a thing? Renowned psychologist John Gottman argues that it is contempt that is the main precursor to divorce in relationships. And this feeling is not limited to love unions, it can manifest itself in any relationship, family, friendship, work. This is how toxic people assert their superiority. It's important not to confuse contempt with constructive criticism. The difference is in the intentions. Constructive criticism is aimed at your development, at helping you become a better version of yourself. Contempt, on the other hand, seeks only to humiliate and suppress. It's like the difference between a coach who inspires you to succeed and a coach who looks forward to your failure. Research from the University of Washington has shown that contempt affects not only mental health, but physical health as well. People who are frequently scorned have more health problems. But not all is lost. Realizing that you have been the object of scorn is the first step to protecting yourself. If someone tries to demean your accomplishments, criticize your appearance, or devalue your dreams, stand firm. Remember, their words say more about them than they do about you. As the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, the opinion others have of you does not belong to you. *** Mark 10. Treatment of animals. If we recall the wise words of the philosopher Immanuel Kant, we can say that a person's true nature can be judged by his or her treatment of animals. Be careful. We are not just talking about extreme cruelty here. Sometimes violence can masquerade as neglect or indifference. For example, a neighbor who leaves his dog on the porch in the hot sun, or a friend who forgets to feed his cat. These behaviors, while they may seem insignificant, often speak volumes about a person's personality traits. What should you do if you encounter something like this? First, do not ignore such situations. Indifference becomes an accessory to cruelty. Second, if it's safe to do so, calmly but firmly talk to the person about their behavior. Finally, don't hesitate to seek professional help if necessary to protect the animal. As the writer Milan Kundera said, a person's true kindness is shown in their dealings with those who can give nothing in return. Pay attention to the way a person treats animals. It can tell you more about their character than it seems. The way we treat the creatures that depend on us reflects who we are. Caring for the weakest is a sign of maturity and deep humanity. Sign 11 is a lack of remorse. Imagine that someone has done wrong and instead of apologizing, they just smile dismissively. This is an indicator of a lack of remorse. What psychologist Robert Hare describes as a faulty emotional switch that never turns on. Remorseless people don't realize or care about the impact of their actions on others. Signs of a person without remorse include 1. False apologies. Such apologies sound insincere, such as, "I'm sorry," but without real remorse. 2. Blaming others. They always find a way to shift blame by saying, "It's not my fault, it's yours." 3. Minimizing the damage. They justify themselves with words like it was just a joke. 4. Resisting responsibility. Such people may become angry or defensive when asked to admit a mistake. 5. Quick to change the subject. They try to avoid discussion to avoid responsibility. However, it is important to distinguish between lack of remorse and the ability to forgive oneself. Learning from mistakes and moving forward is helpful, but ignoring your mistakes is a path to problems. How to behave with those who have no remorse. First of all, set clear boundaries for yourself and don't try to change them. Keep a healthy distance and care for your well-being. Protecting your emotional state like a garden that needs care and protection. Don't let anyone who is incapable of remorse hurt you. If you wonder about your own capacity for remorse, remember, people who rarely feel remorse usually don't question their actions. Pay attention to the signs of remorse. It's not just admitting mistakes, but also wanting to do better. Sign 12. Envy. Envy is often referred to as the poison that poisons the soul. As psychologists point out, although it is a common human emotion, it is not harmless. Envy can manifest itself covertly. For example, when a friend belittles your accomplishments, or a colleague fails to mention your contribution to a project. But why is envy a red flag? Emotional vampires who feed on envy can feed off your happiness and success, which in turn can lead to manipulation and sabotage. Research from the University of California shows that chronic envy can have serious negative consequences. However, envy does not always have to be destructive. As Aristotle noted, envy is pain caused by the success of others. But it can be transformed into personal motivation. By surrounding yourself with people who inspire growth, you can channel envy into a productive direction. However, envy is not always negative. Aristotle said that envy is the pain of the success of others, and it can be transformed into personal motivation. A positive environment with ambitious people can increase your productivity and help turn envy into fuel for self-development. If you feel envy, ask yourself, what can you learn from the person causing this feeling? Perhaps envy can serve as a useful lesson for you. Envious people often find it difficult to celebrate the successes of others and may downplay or ignore those successes. If you feel envious, use it as fuel for your own growth. Ask yourself what you can learn from the person triggering this emotion, and how he or she can help you grow. Remember that envy can be a powerful motivation for personal improvement, and if used constructively, envy can become a problem, but it can also become a teacher. Determine it can be a destructive force or a source of inspiration for your growth. Your ability to turn envy into motivation is what will determine your success. To summarize, envy can be a destructive force or an inspiring motivation. The choice is yours. Your ability to transform envy into motivation for your own growth will determine your success. Conclusion. Now that you know the 12 signs of toxic behavior, use them to protect your emotional well-being and build healthier relationships. If you found this content helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Share with your friends and support the channel to get more content on personal growth. Hugs to you. See you next time.